Hey, Year Sevens, welcome. Today we're actually studying a new topic, which is on decimals and place value, or decimals in particular. And we're going to be starting with exercise 6A on page 316 of your textbook. So I think a lot of you will be quite familiar with what textbooks say about decimals, and we know that decimals in real life, we use them because there's a lot of numbers that describe numbers between numbers, if that makes sense, right? So decimals in real life can be used to describe lots of different measurements in between whole numbers. So for example, if I said that it took me a certain amount of time to run a certain amount of distance, let's say 30 seconds. 30 seconds, that's not a very specific number, right? In reality, it could have taken me 29.86 seconds. Or weight can also be measured in decimals, right? So we've got 43.2 kilograms, something like that. Or money is quite a lot of you will be quite familiar with money. We can have $4.55. Temperature, something like 17.5 degrees, which a lot of you guys will be using in science anyway. Height, so we've got height, for example, someone's not the person next to you in the classroom isn't exactly 150 centimeters. They might be 150.38 centimeters, and your ruler might might not be accurate enough for you to be able to tell. We've also got distance. So, for example, saying that a certain country is, let's say, 1,543.78 kilometers long. So, decimals can be used in real life in many situations. And we'll talk a bit about why, or what the decimal point is. The decimal point is used to separate the whole number from the decimal or the fraction part. So, if for example, I have a number like 678, depending on where I put this decimal point, it changes the value of the whole number. So for example, if I don't put a decimal point down, it's implied it's here, but we'll ignore it for now. If I don't write the decimal down, it's 4,678. If I put a decimal point right here, now it becomes 46.78, right? So 46.78 is drastically different from 4,678. So the decimal point actually separates it. So if I was to say this part over here, that's the whole number. Whole number as in what we'd like to call integers. Integers or whole numbers. And this part over here is the decimal part. Oops. Great. So we did a lot of place value we did a lot of place value in term 1, and a lot of you might remember place value from primary school. But just for those of you who don't really remember it much, we'll do a quick recap. Place value gives a value to each digit in a number. So going back to our example of 46.78, I know that this place right here, that's a 1. Right, that's 1, sorry. Which means I have 6 times 1, which is 6. This is a value of 6. This right here is not just a value of 4, it's in the tens positions, right? So that gives it a value of 4 times 10, which is 40. So each position or place value gives a value to each digit in the number. So this place value chart over here, a lot of you are familiar with that. So we've got decimal point in the middle, ones, tens, hundreds, and if I keep going left, I get thousands, and I get 10,000s over here, and I get 100,000, and you can go on forever. If I keep going to the right, I get thousands, and then I also get tens of thousands. I also get, if I can get rid of this over here, I get hundreds of thousands, and so on. So it can continue for as long as I want. Now, if I'm using this example of this number over here, 2,352 and 0.234, sorry, what that number means is, if I'm just looking at this 2 here first, let's look at that 2. That's 2 in the thousands positions, right? Thousands. So I say 2 times 1,000 plus, now this 3 over here. So that's, So that 3, that's in the hundreds position. So I write 3 times 100 plus the 5, which is in the tens position, right? 5 times 10 plus 2, which is in the ones position, so it's 2 times 1. And then the decimal place, right? So I put the decimal place there. And then I've also got, or actually, we can actually ignore the decimal place for now. Let's add. I've got this number here. Let's start off with blue again. 2. So the 2 is actually in the tens position. So I write 2 times 1 over 10 is tenths, right? And then I add the next number, which is 3. And that's in the hundredths position. So I say times 1 over 100. And then I add finally add 4, which is plus 4 times, and it's in the position of thousandths. So I write 1 over 1000. So that's actually what that number means. In other words, I could write it as, so 2 times 1000 is 2000, plus 3 times 100 is 300, plus 5 times 10 is 50, plus 2 times 1 is 2, plus 2 times 1 over 10 is 2 over 10. We can simplify that, but we'll just ignore that for now. Plus 3 times 100 is 3 over 100. Plus 4 times 1 over 1000, sorry, is 4 over 1000. And that's what that number means. Okay. Let's go ahead and do an example, just so that we understand what's happening. So for the number 58.237, and remember we say 0.237, not 0.237, that doesn't make sense. We have to say point and then number. So for the number 58.237, give the value of the following digits. So for the following digits, right, the value, the 2, so the 2 is this one over here. The question is, what is the value of the digit of 2 in that number? So we're thinking, well, it's in the tens position, so tenths, sorry. So it's 1 over 10, that's the tenths, right? Oops. Tenths. And that's 1 over 10. And what's the value of the actual digit? Well, it's 2, right? There's 2. So I needed to multiply 2 by 1/10. So if I put that over here, 2 times 1 over 10. And I end up with the value of 2 over 10. Or if I simplify it, 1 over 5. Great. And if I do 3, so find the value of 3 in the following digit. 3 is this one over here. And it's in the hundredths. So I'm going to write hundredths. And that is 1 over 100. So I say 3 times 1 over 100. And that's 3 over 100. And that's our answer. That's the value of the following digit. Great. So stopwatch is stopped at 36.57. What digit is displayed in the tenths column? The tenths is the one that's right after the decimal point, so that's 5. What is the digit displayed in the ones column? Ones is the one just before the decimal, so it's 6. What digit is displayed in the hundredths column, sorry? And that would be the one that's after 5, so that's 7. And is this number closer to 36 or 37 seconds? So the number was 36.57. Now the question is, do I round up to 37 or do I round down to 36? Well, I know that this number here, that's a 5, right? And remember, if it's 5 or more, so 5 or more, round up. And we'll talk about a bit later about in future weeks about rounding, but for now we understand that's rounding up, so it's closer to 37. Okay, let's do this one here. Arrange the following decimal numbers in ascending order. So I gotta think about in ascending order. Once again, that is from smallest to biggest, smallest to largest. All right. So what value? So these are all ones, tenths, and hundredths, right? So what value holds the most importance? Well, in this case, it'd be the ones, because the ones has the biggest role in this, right? So the smallest value is 2, and then there's 2 here, and 3, 7, right? So I know that I'm going to have 2 point something, 2 point, oops, 2 point something something, and then I have 3 point something something, 3 point something something, and then my 7s. Right, so now I'm thinking, well, 2.37, so I'm comparing my 2's, right? 2.37 or 2.73, which one's higher or which one's smaller? So the one that's smaller would be the next number up. So we're looking at now, look at the 7 versus the 3. The 3 smaller, so right, 3, 7 here, 7, 3. And then looking at my 3's, so I'm looking at my 3 point somethings. So which one's bigger, 7 or 2? 7's bigger, so I write that here. And 2, 7 over here. And then I've got my 7's, right? So I'm looking at this one here and this one here. So my 2 is smaller than my 3, so I'm going to go ahead and write 2, 3 here and 3, 2 there. I know I went through it quite quickly. Hopefully this is helpful.